Hello, it's that time of an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
It's randoms here. We are back and we are doing what we do best. I don't care how you feel, but we're going to do it. And I care about the subscribers that liked us from the word go when we had
For
this.
the honest truth.
When we had this. Listen, we're gonna attract a lot of people. So Emily, it's that time. I don't need to introduce myself here. I come here as this unknown person. It's fine the way it is. Emily, do your thing, man. I'm just here to accompany you.
Now I have news, family. I have news coming from the Mishali in Damase and Leeroy Sidambe camp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they are not good news. Allegedly still, Leeroy Sidambe is failing to pay the SA Social Security Agency, SASSA, guards that he employed, or that are employed by his company, the Sakile Ezweni Group. Now, the employees have resorted to speaking out and requesting help, okay, despite being threatened with dismissal if they protested or failed to show up at work. So these people are expected to show up at work without getting paid.
Okay.
So there's also a labor law. Apparently, you can't just not show up for work if you're not getting paid in South Africa. It's just that I can't quote it. But yeah, it's been 3 months of them not getting paid, allegedly, and they cannot protest or not show up. No work, no pay. Okay, so if they protested or failed to show up for work, they might get sued. So this month could be the third month in which they didn't receive their full salaries, which they get in small irregular amounts as and when Sidambe decides to pay them, allegedly. So payments repeatedly are postponed. There's a source who spoke to News 24. Okay, and this source is close to the security guards, and they say that they are struggling and two have been evicted from their houses because they can no longer afford to pay rent. This has been going on for a long time. Sidambe used to pay them on the 7th or 8th of the month, but now he's making irregular payments again. Last year, there were allegations. I remember they came from Musa Kaula's blog page that he wasn't paying his staff, and then they kind of went away, but now they're back again. And this time, mainstream media publications have picked up on it. Okay, so it seems like Musa Kaula's blog didn't have much of an effect. So now they're taking it to mainstream. So some of the guys don't even have money for transport. This man needs to put in his place, or government should give someone else the tender because he's failing to uphold his commitments, the source said. Okay, speaking to News 24. While the employees awaited their outstanding balances for April, Sidambe postponed the payment date to the end of last month. Yeah. So another source said Leeroy did what he does best by postponing the payment date. I wonder how he'll pay them this month and when he still hasn't paid last month's salaries. He and Mihlali are disgraceful, allegedly. Now, Mihlali is being dragged into this for obvious reasons. I mean, wasn't it a couple of months ago where she bought a very expensive Mercedes-Benz that's not even in the country yet? She was trending on Twitter, and she said she's an independent woman trying to convince the masses that that car that she bought it from her own money.
Boy, independent women.
So the car allegedly costs more than 3 million. From the dealership that she bought it at. I saw the videos on TikTok. Car dealership people were talking about the situation. They said it costs more than 3 million, and it is like the only one at the time. It was the only one in the country, that car. Okay. So it had to be shipped. She ordered it and it had to be shipped, and it was shipped into the country just so she can purchase it.
I feel like it's expensive to live your life trying to get back to someone.
Akiri, before she bought that car, there were allegations that Mary Jane had claimed her or had won her car back by the courts. Allegedly, she was driving a Range Rover that belonged to Leeroy's ex-wife, or she's still the wife because they're still in the process of divorce.
So if that would be the case, then it would make sense to go all out and buying a certain car that is very expensive
for one day,
so that you can prove a point
to
that
strangers on the internet.
That is very sad. It's hard being a celebrity.
It's very difficult in South Africa. I don't understand why they fall for this pressure to impress people that they don't know. It's weird. At the expense of other people. And remember, there was an allegation coming from when we reported on the divorce proceedings that were happening at the time, the papers that Mary Jane had filed. In those papers, Mary Jane alleged that Mihlali had been made a trustee or a beneficiary of the trust. So if she wanted that car, she was going to get that car, independent woman or not. Allegedly. So if she wanted that car, she was going to get it, if that is the case and what Mary Jane had alleged was true. So maybe she was crying depressed and be like, baby, these people are talking nonsense about me. Delete the Twitter and live your life.
Show them, baby.
Delete the Twitter and move on with your life, because you can't live your life trying to prove a point to people that don't even know you.
That's the thing. That's the product they are selling. If you were made by that product of showing off,
Ish.
So you've got to keep that.
And that's why the employees now are dragging her into this whole mess. Because a lot of people were like, Mihlali. Why is Mihlali being dragged in Leeroy's mess? People are not getting paid, allegedly. Okay? And
whether they think she got 3 million car.
She says she's independent.
Really,
she makes her own money.
So she's making 3 million.
She's making 3
million.
And we
declare that taxes and all those things.
The fact that she appeared at Forbes Africa, what they said you need to have a net of 1 million. But the thing with the Forbes
Forbes.
The Forbes said Kylie Jenner was a billionaire. And they didn't even get bank statements. So you just have to tell them that you have 1 million. They just take it and they run with it.
Forbes give floor, but I think. So they are saying a lot of things about that thing.
I Forbes mean anxiety. I don't trust it.
Tell me about that thing.
I feel like they just want to create pressure to the young people. Okay, so that you feel like you are not achieving enough when what you're doing is more than enough. You know, so they're busy spending money they don't have. This is what the source had to say. They're busy spending money that they don't have, allegedly, on expensive clothes and trips, while their employees are going to bed on empty stomachs. Now,
that reporter sounded like angry person.
Yeah, they sounded very angry. Mar, wouldn't you be angry if you haven't been paid for 2 or 3 months?
Was the source not paid, or the people?
Maybe they don't want to say that they are the person because they know that legal implications are going to befall them. You know, they know that if they say I am an employee, they're going to want to find out who that employee is. Don't you think that they'd want to find out who's the snitch?
Yeah, but you are protected. Now, I was reading this law that says that legal protection. Employees who report non-payment or exercise their rights are protected against unfair treatment, such as dismissal, victimization, as a result of raising complaint, participating in illegal proceedings, proceedings. They are protected.
Maybe they don't know that because they are constantly being threatened that you should
not
even do anything.
And if this person fires you, then that's more money for you.
You must sue them. Go get lawyers.
You win the case and then you sue them.
So allegedly, he promised to pay them on May 29th because he had only paid them 2,000 rands for April. Although Sidambe finally paid them on the May the 31st, they did not receive the full amount due to them as they were still owed the balance of April's salaries. The guards received no other explanation or other communication about this, said the source. So guards survive by begging. One of the guards said the working conditions were unpleasant, and they said, we still haven't been paid and we don't know what to do. I don't have anything to eat, not even meal. These people are making our lives miserable and we don't know where we can complain. They just do as they please. Every time we ask for an update, they say tomorrow. He added that we now survive by begging for food and our children don't have anything. We're thinking of embarking on a go slow, but we were threatened with being fired. By landlord, she said, my landlord doesn't understand why I haven't paid rent. I no longer have a TV set or a fridge because they were taken by him. Our employer wants us to wear the uniforms and show up for work on time daily, but where does he think we can find the taxi fare? So, according to the source, who's a security
You might as well
guard,
just speak, man. You are already in trouble whether you speak or don't. They're not paying you.
I can't even imagine.
Allegedly.
You know, I come from a township and I've heard of these incidences where people would just be exploited like this. So this does not even shock me because I've heard these stories before. People would just be borrowing from Paul to beg Steve to borrow from Paul again just so they can show up for work. And they're not getting
On the troll.
Well, what are they going to do? One of them must speak. One of them must say something. One of them must do something. I mean, if you've got to sacrifice for one, for the rest of the team, maybe it is going to pay you eventually.
They're afraid of getting fired.
We are all afraid of getting fired. But if you're not getting paid, in any case, what's the point of working?
Well, SASSA should simply terminate the contract according to the source, and because then would be hired by the company taking over. So this is like a tender.
Mm-hmm.
So they are hoping that if he can't manage to pay them, then maybe they should leave, and so that another person can take over the tender. But I don't think that's how it works. I don't know. I'm not sure. So by the time of going to print, Sidambe,
No, if there's no work, then the tender will be taken away from you. If there's no workers, you part of the tender, you must bring workers. If they're not there, you won't get paid.
So by the time of going to print, Sidambe had failed to respond to requests for a comment. How can he comment? Uzothini Nkosam.
Zakar.
Ayizamkhalela, and provided that he's also undergoing a very expensive divorce. Allegedly.
All right. Was that it about the BMW and what not, and Mishali Ndamasa and...
Yeah, that was basically it. And it also made me think of a comment I heard from one of the YouTube sangomas a couple of months back. And as black people, or as people of our color, this thing of not paying people, hey, it has karma. I don't know whether people have noticed that, those who have tried running businesses or whatnot, but you should be careful when somebody's praying, and they're crying like this in your name. It's not a good thing, eh? It's not. I would rather sell stuff to pay the people that work, because you don't want such effects on your life of people praying very, very heartbroken prayers to their sources of spiritual power, and then you wonder why things seem to be getting worse instead of actually getting better. So I think as black people who run businesses, get tenders or whatever, just make it a point that you pay people, Pay people. Just pay them. Even if you don't have to pay yourself, pay people. Because, hey, I wouldn't want to be in this situation. So, guys, tell me what you think about this whole story. It was very interesting, courtesy of News 24. And until the next time, bye.
On the Troll.